P.O.L.
Hey, what's up y'all? IntraVenus here, back with another episode of P.O.L Game Review and Music, and today I'm going to cover this device in a little more depth because I've been getting a lot of questions on how you install games, how you get the games to run well, and how to do my favorite thing with it, which is playing PlayStation 2 games. So we're going to go ahead and start off this video with showing you how to decompress and install your game for the PlayStation 2, and you can also use this information to apply to other games and other consoles on your device. So I've already downloaded my game. I'm not going to show you where to download it, but there's no PC necessary on here. You're just going to make sure that you have your internet turned on up here, and when you're playing, you're going to want that on high mode. I have the reflection of the camera there. I apologize. This thing gets pretty bright too, so maybe I'll turn it down just a little bit so you can see it. This is high mode. We're going to keep that on. And as you see here, I have downloaded Gradius V for the PlayStation 2. You can go ahead and click that and decompress, or you can go to the file browser, which is what I'm going to do. So here we have files. We'll click on that. I think I'm in my downloads folder already, but let's go back. This is the screen you'll probably see. You see downloads right there. We're going to go ahead and click on downloads. At the top of my downloads, you'll see Gradius V. We'll click on that. Now, this is a free unzipping program that I've downloaded. It's an app. It'll throw up ads like this on the screen. You just have to hit the little X in the corner, and then it'll continue on doing its thing. Sometimes when you hit the X, it'll accidentally take you on to the Google Play Store for the ad that you accidentally clicked on. It's just because it's a very small X. You want to back out and try to hit it again. Eventually you'll get it. So here we have a bin file and a Q file, and this is interesting because usually with PS2 games you're going to find a .iso file, but this is okay. This will work. We're going to do this. So we'll hit extract and we'll turn down this ad, and let's just pretend this ad isn't here. Blah 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 blah. I hate to support a product that I don't want. There's an X up here, so we'll hit that X. Now we've gotten back to this screen, and you're going to need to create a folder for this. They give you just suggestions of folder names under here. I always go with the basic one to name my folder, and then we're going to hit extract now. Don't hit this. This is for an ad, okay? So if you're using this file, this unzip app, you don't want to do that. You want to click the extract now. It's right up here. So this can take anywhere from a few minutes to several, depending on how big your file is. You can scroll here. I have this locked into forced landscape, so it's cutting off the bar that's loading it. But up here we have the smart extract bar. It's telling us we're at 50% already. We're going to go ahead and speed up here so you don't have to wait for that to finish. Alright, we have finished extracting it. You're going to see a little ad here again, and you could skip out of there. Here's the X that is the most complicated, as it often thinks you're trying to click the ad. There we have it. We're done there. We can go back to our home screen. And now we're going to go to the files. Click your files. We're going to go back out of downloads, and this time we're going to go all the way to the bottom. I'll use my buttons down here so I don't have to touch the screen. We're going to select internal storage. And then we're going to go to what I'm using is the AMC zip extractor. You might have a different name folder here. There is always the search spot where you can go ahead and search for the file you just extracted. In that scenario, I would go ahead and do search for Gradius V, but I know it's in here. So we're going to go in there, then we're going to go to decompressed. And we're going to scroll down. You'll see I have decompressed a lot of files. But we're going to Gradius. There it is, Gradius V. It's right here. So we'll click on that. You can see we've got two things here. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to select them both. See, they're selected both. We're going to hit the three dots in the corner, select move to. We're moving it to the SD card. That's where I'm keeping all my games. So on the SD card, we are now open in it, and I'm going to scroll down to the folder which I have already created, which is called PS2 games. See that, PS2 games? Let's go ahead in there. And this is where it gets tricky, because normally if you have a .iso, you just hit move here and you're done. But since we have a Q file, that's a .bin and a .q file, we want them in the same file, has the same name, Gradius V, so we're going to add a new folder. We're going to call it Gradius V with the Roman numeral V there for the 5. Okay, we're going to move it to the folder. And this might take even longer than before. Now, I have chosen Gradius V because it's the game I want to play, and it's only like 350 megabytes. A lot of these games get upwards of 4 to 6 gigs, and when you're dealing with something like that, this is going to be a screen that you're probably going to walk away from for a little bit, because you're not going to be holding it the whole time. And if the screen sleeps, that's okay. In fact, if you try to wake it up from a sleeping screen while it's unzipping, extracting, moving, it may take a second for the screen to light up because it's doing something else. Don't fret, don't press a bunch of buttons. You can see we're already done moving it here. So we now have Gradius V on our SD card. That is all we need to do here. So there is a lovely button on the side. This switches you into the Anbernic gaming mode. Just going to press that. Now we are in the PlayStation 2 section already. You can see I go left and right. There's my PlayStation 2 games. I have a lot. We're going to go down and see that there is no Gradius. It should be right in between GoldenEye and Grand Theft Auto. Well, that's because we haven't told it to search for it. So here we have the select button. We're going to press that. You get to this screen and you want to go up here and hit game settings. Now this is where you can tell it to look for games in more than one spot. The game is already, or rather the console already has a PS2 games folder built into the internal. You want an external one pointing it to the new folder. You'll just hit that plus. Let's say we're going to make a third one. We'll hit the plus button there. You'll select your SD card and then you choose the folder that you want. And that's what we have here, this PS2 games. That's where I just put Gradius V. We're going to hit start searching games. Real quick, you'll barely see anything happen at all. Go back. There we go, we're back. We're going to go down again. Lo and behold, in between we have Gradius V, and there are two Gradius Vs. So that's because this is a .bin, .q. We had to put them both in the same folder. I believe you can choose either of these and it'll queue up the correct file. But I always choose the top one just in case, so we're going to go ahead and choose this. It is a little annoying to see two Gradius Vs there. There may be a way to manage that. But usually, as you can see all these other games, you won't have to deal with that. We're going to hit the A button, and now we are booting up the Aether SX2. The first time you go into it, it's not going to go into the game. It's going to load a new list of games. It's the same list, but this is in the application that you want to use, the emulator. Now we're going to do it again here. And we've started our game. Let's turn it up. There are some things here that you need to know. You might as well just get ready. First of all, I suggest you go ahead and set yourself up for achievements. There are retro achievements. Here we have the game running. It sounds a bit odd. Quiet, looks a little bit glitchy. What you want to do here is you're going to hit this button. We're going to touch this little symbol up here. It's an eye and a white circle up here. So we're going to touch that. Touch that. We have settings listed here. General settings is what we want. General settings. Here we have options. Set optimal settings. When you hit it, you'll see this optimal default set. That means that you have had the optimal settings generated for the game that you are currently playing. You are going to want to use this a lot. This is very important for future reference. If you can't get your game working with optimal settings, you're going to go ahead and try fast settings. In that scenario, you may deal with some graphical glitches or errors. That's on you, but a lot of games work well. We've hit the setting of optimal. We go back. The game is louder, and it's playing at the correct speed. See that? It's huge. It's huge to do this. So now we have our game. It's loaded in there. It's ready. you know, you're ready to go. You're ready to play the game. Gradius V. Let's go ahead and just show you a little bit of gameplay before we wrap this one up. Let's turn it down a little bit. You notice the settings can increase the volume, they can sync audio, they can remove graphical glitches, adjust the speed. Okay. And here we have it, folks. Gradius V, which is supposed to be like the best Gradius game, I think. It's listed as the top 25, one of the top 25 PS2 games in some cases. Depends on where you're looking, of course. So there you have it. And then if you want to save in a game that doesn't do save features, or say you just want to save in a spot where normally you couldn't, hit this button, save state, select your slot. You're now ready to go. And that means next time you can go to load state and it's there to select every time. It's really that simple, folks, and that's all we're going to show you this time. We've got your PS2 game, we've loaded it up, we've moved it over, everything's great. The last step, maybe you might want to delete that file to save some space from your downloads. You don't need to keep those there. Once you're done with the zip file, you're fine. Let's switch back here for a second before we go. The main extractors that I'm using are this one, which is a common one, the RAR, but that only works for .zips and .rar files. I also use this one, which is the zip RAR extractor. This is actually the one with the zipper you saw that has the ads. This works for .7zip files. That works for .7zip files, and you'll find that it's very handy. You'll be using that with some of these bigger games, because what it seems to be, I'm not an expert at this, but the 7-zip seems to have a compression on a compression. So you decompress, and then you decompress that, and you end up with a file that's sometimes like 3 or 4 times the size of what you downloaded. Now this is a great device. I really like it. Some people are hating on these devices from China. If you've been waiting for a device, this might be the time to get it, because you can play most PS2 games and everything below. I see people talking about the GameCube on this, but the GameCube, it doesn't run as well as PlayStation 2. But I'm going to do videos on that too. I'll show you what runs well and what doesn't. This is the Anbernic R405V. The RG stands for Retro Game, believe it or not. And there we have it, folks. Let me know in the comments. I really appreciate all the interaction and you guys tuning in, and I got a lot more comments, so stay tuned. Keep an eye on the shorts too, because I'll show you shorts of gameplay for PS2 games running smoothly on this. Thanks for watching. Peace out.